by Sir Isaac Newton in 1687, and it helped us understand why objects are attracted to each other, like how the earth pulls us down. Newton said that every object in the universe attracts every other object with a certain force. This force depends on two things: the masses of the objects, how heavy they are. Number 2, the distance between them, how far apart they are. The bigger the masses, the stronger the force, but the farther apart they are, the weaker the force becomes.
Now, for the formula for Newton's universal gravitation is this one. F is equal to G m sub 1 and sub 2 divided by r squared. F is the gravitational force between the two objects. M sub 1 and M sub 2 are the masses of two objects. R is the distance between their centers, and G is the universal gravitational constant. Henry Cavendish said that the precise value of G is equal to 6.673 times 10 negative 11 nm squared or kj squared. The number is super small, which means the gravitational force is only noticeable when at least one object has a huge mass like Earth. Let's solve an example. We'll find the gravitational force between Earth and a 70-kilogram man standing on the surface. This is the given. Mass of Earth, or m sub 1, is equal to 5.98 times 10 kilograms. Mass of man, or square, is equal to 70 kilograms. Distance from Earth's center, or r, is equal to 6.38 times 10 meters. So 10 to the 6th power meters. And G is equal to 6.673 times 10 negative 11 n times m squared or 2d squared. Now let's substitute the values into the formula. F is equal to G is this one. After calculating it to your calculator, you will get F 686. So the force of gravity pulling the man from Earth is 686 newtons. That's actually the same as his weight. This shows that our body is just the gravitational pull of the Earth on our body. In short, Newton's law of universal gravitation explains that everything attracts everything, from the tiniest atom to the largest planet. And that's how gravity keeps us standing on Earth and makes the planet move around the sun.
So, let's proceed to the gravitational field. A gravitational field is the force field that exists in the space of every mass unit of masses. This field extends out in all directions, but the magnitude of the gravitational force decreases as the distance from the object increases. It is measured in units of force per mass, usually newtons per kilogram or 10 kg. So the gravitational field is a field that is type of force field and analogous to electric and magnetic fields for electrically charged particles and the magnetics respectively. So here the formula, F is equal to M times D, where G is the gravitational field, F is the force, and M is the mass. So here the example problem. A ball of mass 2 kg is near the surface of the Earth. find the gravitational field strength acting on the ball and force of gravity on it. So the formula is F is equals to M times G, where the G is gravitational field strength, and the F is gravitational force, and M is the mass of the object. So first, we need to find the mass. Since gravity force, the mass is the mass is 2 kilograms, and the gravity is 9.8. So all we have to do is to multiply the force times gravity. So 2 kilogram multiplied by 9.8 is 19.6. So another example is a 5 kilogram object experience a gravitational force of 50 Newton when placed in a certain gravitational field. Find the gravitational field strength. So the formula is gravitational field times force divided by mass. So the force is 5 kilograms. All you have to do is to substitute the given problem. 50 divided by 5 is 10. So the gravitational field strength is 10. So a gravitational field is the invisible area around an object where gravity pulls things toward it. So on Earth may nasa gravitational field. So an example sa atin is kapag ang apple is medyo mabulok na, siyempre marami siya due to the gravitational field and the force. So it is the space around an object where its gravity can be packed. In a simpler words, it is an area around something like Earth where it can pull together objects towards it. That's all.
So now let's talk about the gravitational potential energy. So gravitational potential energy is the energy stored in an object due to its position above the Earth's surface. So ang gravitational potential energy is basically energy na meron ng isang object kapag nasa taas siya ay ng ground, the higher the object is or the heavier it is, the more energy is stored. So, ang example sila, kapag nagbuhat ka ng bag at nilagay mo sa mataas na mesa, binibigyan nga ito ng ito. So, the gravitational potential energy is basically the energy na meron ng isang object kapag nasa taas siya ng ground. The higher the object is or the heavier it is, the more energy is stored. So, halimbawa sila in real life, kapag nagbuhat ka ng bag at nilagay mo sa mataas na mesa, binibigyan ka ito ng gravitational potential energy. Pero kapag nilagay yung bag, nagiging kinetic energy siya ng paggalaw ng maka-impact na energy ito. So now, let's proceed with the example. So the formula of gravitational potential energy is E is equal to mgh. So Ang EP stands for gravitational potential energy or sumusukat siya ng Joule. Tapos yung N naman stands for mass or sumusukat siya ng kilogram. And the second one is the G is stands for gravitational field, the strength or sumusukat siya ng Earth's gravity na N is equal to per kilogram. And the last one is height. So an area sumusukat siya ng meter. So an example na ang first one is agree with 75 kilogram mass height of 8 and calculate the gravitational potential energy gained by the mass is G is equal to 9.8 and per kilogram. So another given is so first, ang unahin mo is ibutang ang given. So ang given is N is 75 kilogram naman, and the height is 8M, and the G is here. Pag ano kasi Earth's gravity, ganito talaga siya is 9.8 newtons per kilogram. So isunod na ito, so add ang formula, so sunod na siya. So, ano na po na, anak at N, butang na ba ang N? 75, which is 75. And ang G is 9.8. And the H is 8. So, anak po na, sunod mo is i-times yan. So, 9.8 times 8 is equal to 78.4. Tapos, copy the 75. So, ang times natin na 75 times 78.4 will be 5,880 Joule. Naka-Joule kapag ipingan yung hinahanap is an unit is Joule. So, let's move sa second example. So, a 50 kilogram box has gravitational potential energy of 3,920 Joule. Find the height of the box above the ground. So, natin sila formula kahit since height man na natin ginahanap. So, natin muna ang formula sa height is H is equal to EP over MJ. I'm given yan. Given mo na given. So, ang given nato as an EP is 3,920 Joule. Then, ang M is 50 kilogram and the gravity is the 9.8 Newton per kilogram. So now, ang values ng EP is 3,920. So, ito na naman siya. Then, ang values ng M is 50. Then, ang values ng G is 9.8. So, ang natin mo rin mo is times mo na ini will be 490. And copy the 3,920. So, i-divide ko natin siya. 3,920 divided by 490 will be environment sa hand is 8 meters. So, na meter kasi pag height nga ng binahanap, ang unit is meter. So, kapag hinahanap naman ang gravity ng mass, but ang inyong formula is kapag hinahanap ang mass, mga ang formula. Tapos kapag hinahanap naman ang gravity, mga ang formula. So that's it.
Escape velocity. Escape velocity is the minimum speed of an object need to escape a planet's or a moon's gravitational pull without falling back down. In simple words, it's how fast something must go to get away from gravity. So the formula is VE equals the square root of 2gm divided by r, which is VE is equals for escape velocity, g is equals for gravitational constant, m is equals for mass of the planet, and r is equals for the radius of the planet. Example problem. Find the escape velocity from Earth if m is equals to 5.97 times 10 to the 24th power, r is equals to 6.37 times 10 to the 6th power, and g is equals to 6.674 times 10 to the negative 11th power. So the solution for this is we're gonna use the formula VE is equals to square root of 2 times g times m divided by r. We substitute the values. Then we multiply the top numerator. Next is we divide by the radius. Then lastly, find the square root. The final answer will be VE is equals to 1.12 times 10 to the 4th power meters per second, or 11.2 kilometers per second, meaning an object must move at least 11.2 kilometers per second, about 40,000 kilometers per hour, to escape Earth's gravity without falling back.
So now, let's move on in orbits. So what is an orbit? So orbit is an object that follows around another object due to the gravity. So one of the examples is Earth orbits the Sun. So Sun's gravity pulls Earth inward, while Earth is a forward motion if it's moving around instead of falling straight in. So as well as the moon's orbit to Earth. So orbits can be circular meaning perfectly round path, while elliptical is slightly over path. So orbits can exist because of the balance between the two forces called the gravitational forces. So when we say gravitational force or Fg, it is pulls of the object y, while the second is the centripetal force or the Fc, which refers to the inward force that keeps object moving in circular path. So now let's move on for the state orbit. The structure must be 1. So in formula of Fg is equal to Fc, we have the formula given right here. This is the initial speed. This is the gravitational constant, which has a corresponding value, which is 6.674 times 10 raised to the power of negative 11. So we have the m, which refers to the mass, and also the r or ratios between the orbits. So now, let's move on to the example or the problem. So for the problem, find the orbital speed of the satellite orbiting Earth at a height where the radius from Earth's center is 7.0 times 10 raised to the power of 6 meter, and the mass of Earth, or the M, is equal to 5.27 times 10 raised to the power of 7 for J. So right here we have the formula, and also we have here the given, and so it what you call the gravitational constant, it has a value of 6.674 times 10 raised to the power of negative 11. So now let's substitute the given. So here is the gravitational constant and the masses. So first that you will do is times these two and divide it into over. And next is once you solve it, you have the answer 5.689 times 10 raised to the power of 7. So since it has a square root, we have to square it, and it's equal to 7.54 times 10 raised to the power of 8. So the sign is meter per second. So we have to we have step. So next we have to step the round up. So 7.5 times 10 raised to the power of 3 meters per second, or 7.5 kilometer per second.
Kepler's law of planetary motion explains how planets move around the sun, and it states that planets orbit the sun in elliptical paths move faster when closer to the sun and slower when farther away, and that their distance from the sun is related to the time they need to complete one orbit. And there is 3 laws under the Kepler's law of planetary motion. The first is law of ellipsis, meaning planets move in elliptical orbits with the sun at one focus. Example, the orbits around the sun is slightly elliptical, meaning sometimes the Earth is a bit closer to the sun, or perihelion, and sometimes farther, or aphelion. The second is the law of equal areas, meaning a line joining a planet and the sun sweeps out equal areas in equal times. Example, when Earth is closer to the sun in January, its perihelion, it moves faster in its orbit. When it's further away in July, aphelion, it moves slower. The last one is the law of harmonies, meaning the square of planet's orbital period, T squared, is proportional to the cube of its distance from the sun, R cubed. Example, Mercury, which is closest to the sun, completes one orbit in 88 days, while the Earth takes 365 days, and Jupiter, which is much farther away, takes 12 years to go around the sun.
Kepler's law of planetary motion is the law of ellipsis. So when we say law of ellipsis, it meaning planets don't move in perfect circles, instead they move ellipses. An ellipsis is an oval shape, and it has two sides. The sun is located at one focus, not at the center. So the formula for this law is R is the distance from the sun to the planet at a given point in the orbit equals A, or the semi-major axis of the ellipse, the quantity of one minus the eccentricity of the ellipse squared over 1 plus the eccentricity cosine to anomaly. So the example of this is a planet orbits the sun. A planet orbits the sun in elliptical path. The semi-major axis an orbit is 10 AU, or the astronomical unit is, and E is the eccentricity, and the true anomaly is 60 degrees. So first is we need to substitute, which is A is 10 AU, or the astronomical unit, 1 the E is 0.2 squared, the theta theta is 60 degrees. So the first one we need to do is to square the 0.2 equals 0.04. 1 minus 0.04 is equals to 0.96. This one is in here we need to get the decimal point, so it equals 0.5. Then after that, 1 minus 0.04 is equals to 0.96. 1 plus 0.2 times 0.5 is equals 1.1. Then here we need to multiply this. 10 times 0.96 is equals to 9.6. Having the 1.1, 9.6 divided by 1.1 is equals to 8.72. That's all.
So now, let's proceed to the Kepler's second law, the law of areas. Kepler also observed that if a planet transverses two separate arcs, it would still define the same area in 30 days. He came up with this observation after studying individual portions of the orbit of Mars. Meaning, when a planet is closer to the Sun, it is called perihelion. It moves faster. When it's farther from the Sun, it's called aphelion. It moves slower. This conserves angular momentum. To make it clear, let's see the drawing in this chart. So, the line joining a planet to the Sun sweeps out equal areas in equal times, which is, here is the Sun, then this is the line connecting from each planet, which is the Mars. So, this is area 1 and this is area 2. So, from kanina, it is called the law of areas, which is here. Here are the area 1, which is the perihelion, and this is the aphelion. It is equal with areas in equal time. Formula: dA over dt equals a over 1 over 2 r squared d theta over dt, where dA over dt is equal to aerial velocity, area sweep out per unit time. R equal distance from the Sun to the planet at a given time. D theta over dt equals angular speed. So here are the example problem. A planet is 1 AU from the Sun at point A and 2 AU from the Sun at point B. If it takes 10 days to move from A to C, how long will it take to move from B to D? So that is swept areas are equal. Here are the given. RA is equal to 1 AU, RB is equal to 2 AU, time from A to C is equals to 10 days. Area triangle BOD. And here is the solution. We came up with this solution because first we need to solve TBD, which is here, the time to move from B to D. So we need to apply Kepler's second law. Since the area sweep in equal both intervals, which is AC equals ABD. By the law of areas, assuming smallest intervals, so R is effectively constant, which is A equals to 1 half R squared rectangle theta. If the angular displacement A theta are not specified but the areas is constant for equal areas, so since the angular displacement are related for constant area velocity, which is A theta A over TAC equals A theta B over TBD. This means RAT times AC equals RBT B times TBD. So we came up with this solution because
we need to find TBD, which is here. So the formula is TBD equals RA divided by RB times ATC. And from before, let's apply, let's plug in the numbers, which is RA is equals to AU, RB is equals to 2AU, and the time is 10 days, which is here 1 divided by 2, which is 0.5 times 10. So we came up in 5 days. And here are the answer of the sample from the given equation.
So let's move on to third law of harmony. Third law of harmony is using Bragg data. Kepler tried to discover the relationship between the period of the planet or the time it takes a planet to complete one revolution in the planet distance from the sun. Moreover, the square of an orbit's period is proportional to the cube of the average distance between the planet and the sun. So this is the formula: t square root is equal to a to cube root. T is orbital period, time to complete one orbit in years, and A is semi-major axis of orbit in astronomical units or AU. So this is the simplified units. T is in years and A is in astronomical units. So example is a planet has a semi-major axis of A is equal to 4, which is AU. Find its orbital period in T in Earth years. So the example given is A is equal to 4.